You're listening to Ragebreed Records Show on Ragebreed Radio.
Join Karina Sher, the visionary behind the progressive metal powerhouse Mindlapse, as she pulls back the curtain on the music, creativity, and philosophy driving her band. From the relentless riffs and haunting melodies to the stories behind each album, Karina shares the highs and lows of life in a modern metal band. Discover how Mindlapse blends technical precision with raw emotion, connects with fans around the world, and pushes the boundaries of the genre. Featuring exclusive behind-the-scenes insights, discussions on songwriting and production, and reflections on the journey of being a female band leader in metal, this podcast is a must-listen for fans, musicians, and anyone curious about the art of pushing music to its limits.
Mindlapse is a female-fronted metal band founded by Karina Sher, a multifaceted artist from Leicester, England. Known for blending different subgenres within the different albums and EPs created over the years. Mindlapse has been active since 1996 and has made a significant impact on the UK and international metal scenes. Origins and musical evolution. Karina Sher began her musical journey in 1994 with the band Neutral Shade. In 1996, she formed Mindlapse, securing a contract with HTT Records. The band quickly gained attention, receiving a KKKK review in Kerrang! And being featured in NME and Metal Hammer. Also voted Best Female-Fronted UK Band by MRC with big features in the Derby Telegraph and the Leicester Mercury, not to mention their music going to #1 at Takeover Radio with the track Strength and Beyond.
Their dynamic sound is characterized by Sher's powerful vocals and genre-blending compositions, has evolved over the years, incorporating elements of doom, death, nu metal, black metal, and more recently progressive melodic death metal. Their Souls for Sinners EP was Total Rock approved by the late Malcolm Dome. They were invited to be interviewed as well as Chaz Carroll for the BBC, who later became their agent, introducing the band with meet and greets backstage, with Machine Head, Reef, My Ruin, Sepultura, just to name a few. This EP sold out.
Later notable tracks from their last recorded single include Haunted and The Prophecy, which have been featured on various radio shows and playlists. Also securing #1 N1M, including being plugged nationally and internationally. Haunted received over 7.4K views on Ragebreed TV. Karina Sher writes the music and brings in different musicians to secure recording and tours. All music rights are owned by her and the company Ragebreed Records.
Live performances and collaborations. Mindlapse has shared stages with prominent bands such as Napalm Death, Skindred, Kill to This, Cancer, and Insomnia. They have performed at renowned venues headlining including Rock City in Nottingham, Corporation in Sheffield, Bradford Rios, the White House in Derby, Camden Palace now called Coco in London, to name a few. The band's participation in the Under the Earth UK tour in 2005, alongside Cancer and Insomnia, marked a significant milestone in their live performance history.
My name's Karina, I'm from the band Mindlapse, and I'm going to be talking to you today about the history of Mindlapse, and you're going to be hearing some of the tunes that basically have been recorded over the years from the growth from Holier Than Thou Records, when we started off as kind of like a gothic rock band that turned into kind of, we kind of, to be honest with you, went through a lot of subgenres during the years, because I wanted to have artistic freedom to be able to not be put in a box, and I kind of liked the fact that I could kind of do that over the years and enjoy the different types of subgenres that I truly enjoy. So what you will find with Mindlapse actually is, over the years you will see a distinct progression from when we started to the sound that is quite more definitive now, and you will find, and to be honest with you, I like to just really say that we're a metal band, primarily all the songwriting when it comes to Mindlapse stuff is written by myself. However, I bring in musicians to sort of build the song up, if that makes sense. So, different recordings have featured different musicians. So for the next album that we are going to be looking at writing, Obviously there'll be different musicians on that as well. So just want to say, right now I'm going to take you into the journey, and we're going to be starting off from 1996. So in 1996, I got a call from David Begg from Holier Than Thou Records, saying he was interested in signing us and for us to come down to Stratford-upon-Avon to discuss a contract. So we did this, and we secured a contract. He wanted to sign me up as a songwriter singer, and so it meant that if we did get any sort of members of the band that wanted to drop off or whatever, we still had a secure contract, as I wrote I wrote all the music basically. So what happened is we started with our first lineup, and our first lineup was myself, Gaz, who was my first love actually, and basically we had Amber, who was on bass, we had Jamie, who was on the guitars, and we had Chris on drums. So we basically recorded the full EP, and we did a couple of tracks, which there was 1 or 2 tracks which we recorded outside John Mitchell, which we usually record with. He is our producer. And we just did a single, and one of them is called Numb, and that one was kind of a little bit punky, I guess. It was a very kind of Chura Satana, Manhole type of inspired type song, a little bit of Korn influence in there. It was very punky inspired, and for the 1996 album, we kind of released Myself and I. Now, since I'd re-released the music through Ragebreed Records, I've done a little bit of separation, in the sense that I've kind of looked at where I'm going to put the tracks to fit the kind of to fit the appropriate album, if that makes sense. So you can find all Mindlapse music on iTunes and Amazon Music and things like that, so you can have a look through the years. Obviously when we re-released it, it was obviously at a later date, so you'll probably see different dates on there, but these are actually very older albums, which stemmed from when we were signed with Holier Than Thou Records. So basically in 1996, so this is what happened. We played our first ever gig at the Red Room in Leicester. Now, those of you who remember George's, it used to be called George's before, but that was our first gig. And then we continued to play the Shed, we played the Royal Mail, the Spread Eagle, if those of you remember from Leicester who are probably as old as me. We played the Halftime Orange, we played Alcatraz at an event called Identity Crisis, and yeah, we pretty much played quite a lot as a band, and then we got onto the BBC, and the first time we got our track plugged, it was from Chaz Carroll, who played the Friday night rock show. He's now passed, sadly, but he was the first, I guess, radio person that plugged our music, and he really loved our stuff, and he listened to it and he said, this is absolutely brilliant. And Chaz Carroll later became our agent because he really believed in the band, and he used to plug us quite a lot. It was through Chaz, so we're now going into sort of a little bit later. So we kind of decided to change up a little bit, because at the time I was really into Machine Head, Fear Factory, Biohazard, Chura Satana, Rage Against the Machine, Incubus, bands like this, as well as obviously my heavy stuff. I've always loved my Carcass and Obituary and stuff like that. But I really enjoyed Biohazard, and I really enjoyed Chura Satana. She was probably one of my biggest influences growing up, Tari B, and I've had the pleasure of meeting her twice. Once with Chaz Carroll, and she gave me a bunch of flowers and a pendant. And then the second time I met her was at Leicester Square when my Ruin played down there. So with Chaz Carroll, he became our agent. We then started to change our sound a little bit because I felt like I wanted to explore the sort of rap metal side of things as well. So we started to do, basically we did a single called Lost in a Mindless Game. This was in 1999. And the second track on there is called Wrong as well. This single got 4Ks in Kerrang. It did really, really well. And as a result, we got a lot of gigs. We ended up going to London, to the Red Eye. We were approached by quite a lot of labels actually. Mushroom Records, Sanctuary, Roadrunner, even Century Media actually. We had a lot of label interest. One of the things that I was worried about, I think, as a person who was I think it's very important for an artist to maintain their sound without outside influence. And I was worried that if I got signed up to a major label, that I would lose some of that writing side of things. I was worried that I would lose that. And I think this has been quite important because there was a label that was saying that they wanted to bring in a DJ like kind of Linkin Park and Limp Bizkit, that type of thing. And I just wasn't feeling that, and it kind of caused a lot of, because we're still a heavy band, we still did the heavy vocals, I didn't kind of want to water it down. I didn't want to be a kind of like a Papa Roach kind of band, if that makes sense, because we still do heavy stuff, we still do the screaming, we still do the heavy, chuggy stuff, and I didn't want to lose that element, and I was sort of torn. We were all torn about what we should do. And then we got offered to play with Slipknot, and because Chaz was our agent, obviously you guys know that when it comes to tours and things like that, they cost money, and there's a lot of buy-ons and things when it comes to things like that. So we were offered to do it for a 10k or something like this, and we just couldn't afford to cough up that kind of money straight away. And another band got it instead, and because obviously we're not gonna, you can't just come up with money like that. So we had the interest. I think what kind of let us down a lot of the time was we had a lot of lineup changes with people whereby a lot of the girlfriends of the bands wanted them not to sort of go into the fame side of things, which is understandable, if you're looking for a typical kind of relationship. But but the thing is, I think some partners are very supportive of musicians on tour and things like that, and some partners aren't. And it's very important for me to have people that were quite happy to go on tour and things like that. So 1999 we obviously had that. Then we did Love My Hate, which was another single. Then we did Like That, which went really well, to be honest. That was probably a favourite of a lot of people, if that makes sense. They really enjoyed that track. And also Love My Hate, that went down like a storm live. And we also had Finally Survive single, which went down really well too. It's interesting because a lot of people really enjoyed the B-sides as well to the singles. So, for example, we had Like That, which the second track was Strength and Beyond. That ended up going to number 1. Then we had Finally Survive, which did really well as well. But As I Do also got plugged on Total Rock on the Sex to 9 show with Maria. So it looked like, a lot of the, even the B-sides were being plugged quite a lot through media, which was really positive. Then we started to get into magazines like Metal Hammer, so we're on the Check Him Out section, which was really cool. We were in Leicester Mercury, Derby Telegraph, we were plugged on HFM. We were plugged quite a lot, to be honest, and we started to do more shows. So we did one at the Red Rose Theatre with Occupational Hazard. We also did shows in London. We headlined Rock City on a Saturday, and we literally sold a lot of our singles, which was amazing. And we got an encore as well, which was great. That was in 2001. We also did a Kerrang Fest, which was in the Charlotte, Leicester. And we played whenever we could get gigs and things like that. I mean, we got the Coliseum in Coventry, and obviously we were starting out then, so we got paid in catering, and we were fine with it. And it was great. It was we played with a band called Brutal Deluxe, which was amazing. And we have played with a lot of bigger bands like Napalm Death, Skin Dread, Kill to This, just as sort of, to make you understand. Also King Prawn, and later on in 2005, we toured with Cancer, Insomnium, Gutworm, Cruel Humanity, and we were on a tour there. So that was amazing, and it was fantastic. It was really great. I mean, Cancer are a phenomenal band as well. We shared the tour bus with Insomnium, and that was amazing. I mean, it was so good because they're such great guys as well, really funny. And I'll share something with you. We had a point where everyone was doing arm wrestling. That was really fun. We were obviously having a few drinks, and we were doing stuff like that. And then we played the Coco in London, and obviously at the time we were getting a lot of people there asking for autographs and things like that. And I remember at one point, I think it was maybe that evening or something, or during the day, we ended up jamming Anathema Fragile Dreams with Insomnium on the tour bus with acoustic guitar, and it was me and Ish and the guys from Insomnium, and that was amazing. That was really cool. And that was quite a defining moment for, I think, Mindlapse, because Insomnium, they have been a band that I have really, really liked. I mean, there's an album called Since the Day It All Came Down. If you haven't listened to it, check it out. It's absolutely brilliant. And these guys just played so professionally and so great, and I'm literally blown away by this band, because it kind of, if you like your melodic kind of death metal, because I was a massive Opeth fan when we did Souls for Sinners. So moving on from kind of the rap metal side of things, we went into the more progressive death metal. This is when we were promoting Souls for Sinners EP. Okay, this EP was probably one of the highlights of Mindlapse, because it produced a very distinctive, heavy underground European sound, and Malcolm Dome played a track, like literally all the tracks on the EP, at our Total Rock interview in the studio in London. And I will always remember that interview, because that was such a legendary interview. It was amazing. And yeah, I mean, you know, having someone who really enjoyed the EP, but being such an important part of the music industry as Malcolm Dome was, you know, rest in peace Malcolm Dome. He was incredible. He really valued the music, and we were very lucky to have had his Total Rock approved stamp on our music, which was amazing. So during the time of Souls for Sinners, so this is where we had a lineup with Gaz, Nish, Adi and myself. But then when we sort of did the tour with Insomnium and Cancer and things like that there was a different lineup. So we had, because we went into the more death metal, which is what you hear with Haunted and The Prophecy, so we kind of went from a little bit more melodic death to a little bit more heavier stuff. And it's because at the time I went through a massive, like, I was listening to Hate Eternal, At the Gates, Carcass, early Carcass, and Arch Enemy, Grave, Jungle Rot, Haunted, you know, and bands like this. So you can imagine that the kind of stuff we were listening to, I wanted to do something heavier, you know, I wanted to do something really fucking heavy, really brutal, blow the fucking, you know, the tops off. And I wanted it to be raw. I didn't want it to be very produced. I wanted it to kind of have the old school Carcass kind of feel, like Symphonies of Sickness, Reek, you know, that kind of real proper guttural and top end. I like the high end screams as well as the low. And I was really excited about these two tracks, The Prophecy and Haunted, because it took me a long time to write these. And yeah, it was really cool because, you know, I'd been experimenting with a lot of death metal and I really wanted to do it well. So I got really into my black metal as well. So you can hear kind of the elements of black metal without the symphonic side of things. But yeah, it's kind of cool. What you will find, however, for the next album, which is Into Hell, you're going to get a lot of different dynamic, but you're going to get very brutal as well. So you will have death metal in there, you will have progressive in there, you will have black metal in there, you'll have doom as well. So I'm going to be creating an album very versatile, but it's going to be in sync with the Lake of Dreams film. So this is when Kira goes to hell, she meets spirits in hell, and each spirit she meets is someone that basically inspires her, you know, to learn how to fight back and be a little bit more strong. Because Kira, you know, and the thing is, in the next section of this podcast, we are going to be talking about Lake of Dreams and all of this and who she is and what she needs to be in order to, you know, to be a queen, I guess. And she, at the time, is this little healer, you know, very sweet and innocent, but she's never really had to, you know, have a war or anything like that, or stand up for herself. So it's about her learning how to assert boundaries and how to fight back when needed. You know, because obviously if you're in a life or death situation, you'll get killed if you just, you know. So this is about her learning how to defend herself, and so we will talk a little bit more about this. But yeah, Into Hell is going to be the next Mindlapse album. You're going to have a lot of tracks that, by the way, are already written. I'm just looking to get them recorded now, so I'm just waiting on my producer to get back to me and figure out sometimes when we can record it. We're going to start off with a single which is called Rage of Masses, and then the next step will be obviously recording the Lake of Dreams single 2, and then obviously getting them out this year. So that's going to be the next step. So what you will find with Mindlapse is you will have a really good progression of what we used to do, the experimental phase, the progressive death metal phase, and you know, and I would probably still class us as a heavy band, but because we like dynamic, you know, I like to just sort of say that we're kind of metal, and then that way there's room for experimentation, you know. A lot of people like to pigeonhole you, but I just think as an artist, I don't want boundaries when I do my art. It needs to feel completely authentic. I don't want someone to tell me that you need to water this down, or I want true authenticity in how I write. So and that is why Mindlapse is so special, because it's a creature of you know, it's kind of like always evolving, you know. It's a creature of evolvement. It's something that has always been consistent. I've kept writing over the years, so even though I've not been touring or anything like that, you know, all the music has been plugged through radio, media. We've had interviews, all kinds of things, so it's continuously evolving. And I have material now for a new album, a new single, and that will be the next step. So you know, I'm just literally sorting out dates to get this done, so that's going to be one of the most important things for me to do. And yeah, so let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. And yeah, that is going to be one of the biggest I think achievements in Mindlapse history with this new album and new single, because the music is brilliant. It really, really is, and I'm really looking forward to making it so ferocious and brutal, and you know, and melodic in places. But I want the feel of when she becomes stronger. I want to have that empowerment there, you know. So that's really important. So yeah, I think in terms of the music, and in terms of how we've evolved over the years, I'm very happy with what we've done. I'm really happy with the experiences that we've had, you know, and now is a new chapter for Mindlapse, because now it in syncs with a movie, and it's all the stuff that I've written that I've been keeping to myself for over the years, waiting for the right time to release it. And everything needs to go according to universal timing. People don't truly understand that, but I do. Those who are spiritual understand everything has to happen at the right time. And so therefore, one of the things that I really want to do is ensure that this music is, you know, heavily promoted when it's out, and I'm hoping that you guys enjoy it. You know, this is the main thing. You know, I want my music to be able to reach people. One of the key things that I wanted to mention, and you know, is one of the most amazing moments of Mindlapse was showing how your music can help people through difficult times. So when we played the White House in Derby, there was a girl there, and she said that I listen to Finally Survive every day because I have cancer, and I've beat it because I've just listened to your track every day, and it just makes me feel so empowered and strong. And for me, if my music can touch someone like that and give them strength during a difficult time, then I know that what I'm doing is in sync to what I'm supposed to do. Does that make sense? For me, my music, everything that I do is an authentic life path, and Mindlapse is certainly a big part of that. You know, so you can expect a single, and you can expect an album in the new year.
Recent developments and future projects. Currently signed to Ragebreed Records, an alternative label founded by Karina Sher, Mindlapse is working on a new single called Rage of Masses, and an album called Into Hell. that will serve as a soundtrack to the upcoming film project Lake of Dreams. This album aims to blend various metal subgenres to create a dynamic and immersive experience. Karina is actively seeking new members to contribute to this ambitious project. Karina also released all albums and EPs via her label Ragebreed Records.
Emerging from the depths of the UK's underground and alternative metal scene, Mindlapse is a band that refuses to conform, crafting a sound as ferocious as it is thought-provoking. Formed in 1996, Mindlapse has carved a unique sonic identity that blends blistering riffs, haunting melodies, death vocals both high-end and low-end you can relate to with singers such as Angela Gosso. With equally dynamic vocals with melodies such as Lacuna Coil's Christina Scabian. In the past, the vocal style you would associate with hardcore and rap metal artists you would find with bands such as Biohazard, and vocals of Terry B. of Chura Satana, Manhole and My Ruin. Mindlapse had a unique raw lyrical introspection, landing the band with a KKKK review in Kerrang! Magazine. And a feature in Metal Hammer, not to mention in the top 10 rock charts, printed in the NME magazine for the BBC rock charts, with the likes of Limp Bizkit, Hole and Muse to just name a few.
Later on, the sound became more developed with the Souls for Sinners EP, drawing inspiration from underground metal, progressive elements, and gothic undertones. The band delivered an experience that is both atmospheric and aggressive that you would associate with bands such as Opeth, Catatonia, Carcass and Arch Enemy, but a uniqueness that sets the band apart. Fronted by the commanding presence of lead vocalist Karina Sher, Mindlapse are renowned for their electrifying live shows, headlining or performing stages such as Rock City in Nottingham, the Coco in Camden, Sheffield Corporation, Bradford Rios, just to name a few, with very emotionally charged performances.
The band's music explores themes of mental health, existential dread, and the societal disconnect of modern life, offering catharsis through crushing breakdowns and soaring hooks. Karina says these songs are stories that are derived from concepts, with the theme that each song represents a spirit telling their story. This is why the discography album is called Forgotten Memories of Past Lives, and this is why each song represents a spirit for the new album Into Hell for the Lake of Dreams movie.
With new material currently in development, Mindlapse is poised to break new ground, unafraid to evolve, challenge, and disturb. For those who crave depth in their heaviness and authenticity in their message, Mindlapse is more than a band, it's a reckoning. They are back and are bringing songs that are not only brutal but tells a story of a spirit for the Lake of Dreams movie, Karina's other musical and film project. In the words of Ashley Bird from Kerrang! The future looks very exciting indeed, KKKK, Kerrang! Magazine.
You're listening to Ragebreed Records Show on Ragebreed Radio.
angels of the skies. Creature in the dark. From your open neglect, stand by the tide. So free her mind psychology from this day.
Record Show on Ragebreed Radio.
to be like that? You want me 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 to be like that? You want me? Dream on misery, it's a fight for me. I go inside, controlling me like a Richard Crack. You see, most of my life is reality. Not again, but you play inside with the enemy stop. Emotions power, devotion stars, self-respect, dignity falling and you wise up. When you discover the truth, which is hard to face, you leave the products of you. Care enough about the other side, because the other side won't leave it behind unless you have the right to mess with the other side. Just pass and you'll never leave the hate behind. You want me to be like that? You want me to be like that? You want me to be like that? Look me in the eye. You want me to be like that? You want me to be like that? You want me to be like that? You want me? It's all about society, coming the variety, kicking up the dirt to the people high-minded, focus of virginity, doesn't dignity, navigate with my mobility. Is it wrong to be like that? Is it strong to be like that? Is it wrong to be like that? Is it wrong to be like that? Like that? Like that? Like that? Like that?
guys, I've basically put a few tracks there by Mindlapse during the years, all of different years and, times of my life. Obviously, Mindlapse has been going strong since 1996. I have been writing in the meantime for a new album, as you know, Into Hell, and a new single called Rage of Masses will be released at some point this year. So basically want to say thank you for listening. If you've enjoyed some of the Mindlapse material, please do support what we do. Please go to www.mindlapse.net. And also you can buy Mindlapse merch from Ragebreed Store .net, I believe it is. So yeah, you can literally buy some of the merch, and you can also buy the single The Prophecy Haunted through Bandcamp. And you can buy from the usual online retail outlets like Apple Music, Amazon, that kind of thing. We will be doing some more hard copies of the album Forgotten Memories of Past Lives, and we will be doing hard copies of the new single as well. So yeah, there's going to be a lot happening on the Mindlapse front. Do make sure that you support what we do. Follow the page, follow us on Instagram, and follow Ragebreed TV as well. You can check out the music videos of Mindlapse and Lake of Dreams. And I think that's about it. So thank you for listening in. I hope you've enjoyed the show, and speak to you soon. Keep it metal, keep it Ragebreed. And also don't forget that the Lake of Dreams part and section of this particular show will be aired next week. So just to let you know, and that will go more into detail with obviously Lake of Dreams, the movie, the music, the album, everything like that. The birth of Lake of Dreams and all the history and everything. So do check it out. If you've enjoyed the show, do let me know. All the feedback's really amazing that you guys have sent me so far. Thank you all so much for your support, and we'll speak to you soon.